It's strange how entitlement doesn't whisper, it stomps its way into your life, convinced it owns everything you worked for. I learned that the day my family decided my penthouse, the one I bled, cried, and clawed my way to earn, suddenly belonged to my sister. They didn't ask. They demanded. And when I pushed back, they spun lies so elaborate they almost fooled me, too. But the universe has a funny way of balancing scales, because a stranger I'd never met stepped forward and exposed everything, and did it live. When I was little, my mother used to say, "Brenna, success isn't real unless someone else approves of it." I didn't realize she meant her. Growing up, my older sister, Clara, was the golden child. She was delicate, emotionally fragile, apparently made of glass and sunshine, at least that's how everyone treated her. I, on the other hand, was the resilient one, the problem solver, the fixer, the daughter they assumed would always bounce back no matter how badly they drained me. So I left. I built a life far away. I worked in property analytics, grinding through 14-hour days until I finally scored the promotion that changed everything. With that promotion came enough money to buy the dream I'd held since childhood, a penthouse overlooking the water. It was mine, earned, fought for, savored. The first time I walked into it, barefoot, holding a cheap bottle of wine because I couldn't afford anything nicer yet, I cried. Not because the place was expensive or glamorous, but because it represented every lonely night I'd pushed through without my family. Every insult. Every dismissal. Every time they'd said, "You think too much of yourself." Ironically, the moment my family learned I had something valuable, they suddenly remembered I existed. Calls started coming in out of nowhere. Mom wanted to visit. Dad wanted to talk numbers. Clara missed me. And then one day, Clara showed up at my door unannounced, wheeling a suitcase behind her. "Nice place," she said, walking in as if she already owned it. I thought she wanted to stay the weekend. No. She wanted to stay forever. "This is perfect for me," she announced. "Mom said you'd understand. You're hardly ever home anyway, Brenna. It's not like you need all this space." I laughed, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. In that moment, something in her eyes told me this wasn't a request, it was a decision the family had already made on my behalf. Clara had always been dramatic, but this was new. She walked around my penthouse like a real estate agent showing a client the place. "I can put my vanity here," she said. "Ooh, and I can turn your office into a walk-in closet." I blinked. "You're not moving in." She huffed. "Mom already said you'd be selfish about this." Then she sat on my sofa, my white, expensive, custom-upholstered sofa, and crossed her legs like she was settling into her throne. "I'm not asking you," she said. "I'm telling you. I'm moving in. This is what family does. You take care of me." I felt like I'd been slapped. "Clara, you have an apartment." "Correction," she said, flipping her hair, "I had an apartment. I broke the lease. Told them I'd be moving in with you." My jaw dropped. "Are you insane?" "No," she replied calmly. "I'm the daughter who needs support right now. Mom said you'd step up. She said it's the least you could do after everything I've gone through." Everything she had gone through? She hadn't worked in nearly a year. She'd quit her job to focus on her emotional well-being. She'd racked up debt on unnecessary luxuries. And apparently, her solution was to freeload off me. I kicked her out that day. She screamed, cried, accused me of abandoning her in her hour of need, and stormed out, threatening that I would regret this. 2 days later, the rest of the family descended like wolves. Mom called first, furious. "How dare you throw Clara out? She's your sister. She deserves stability. That penthouse is too much for one person." Dad chimed in through text, "It's time you give back to the family that raised you." Raised me? They barely tolerated me. Then came the kicker. We told Clara she could move in. We already made arrangements. Don't make this difficult. Arrangements? What arrangements? I wouldn't find out until the public confrontation, the one that would explode everything. But at this stage, all I felt was confusion, anger, and a sinking sense that my family had crossed from entitled to something far uglier. 2 weeks later, I attended a homeowners meeting in my building, something I usually skipped. But I had renovations planned, so I needed the board's approval. The moment I walked into the room, every eye turned toward me. But not in a friendly way. More like, there she is. The scammer. The HOA president, a stern woman named Valerie, gave me a cold nod. Brenna. Sit. I sat, confused. Then the whispers started. She lied to her own sister. Imagine promising your home then backing out. Poor girl. Heartless. My stomach tightened. Valerie cleared her throat. Before we proceed with the renovation request, we need to address the complaint. Complaint? What complaint? Valerie slid a folder across the table. Inside was a printed email from my mother. It read, "Our daughter Brenna purchased the penthouse for Clara as a gift to help her rebuild after her mental health crisis. But now is refusing to honor the agreement. Clara is left homeless, betrayed, and emotionally unstable. We ask the HOA to help mediate this issue before things escalate further." My chest burned. A gift? Mental health crisis? Homeless? Clara wasn't homeless. She had an apartment until she voluntarily broke her lease. But the lies went deeper. Attached was a screenshot, a fake text conversation between me and Clara. Messages supposedly from me saying, "The penthouse will always be yours. I bought it for you. Move in whenever you want." My hands shook. "These are fabricated," I said. But the room didn't look convinced. Clara and my mother had made me look like a manipulative monster who suddenly yanked away a promised home. And then Valerie said something that nearly made me flip the table. "We interviewed a witness who confirmed your agreement." A witness? Who? Before I could ask, the door opened. And the stranger walked in. Tall guy. Dark jacket. Nervous energy. I didn't recognize him. "This is Ethan," Valerie said. "He has information relevant to the dispute." Ethan avoided eye contact, guilty? Or nervous? My mind raced. Was he someone Clara hired? Someone they manipulated? But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for what Ethan would say. Or how it would flip everything upside down. Ethan took a shaky breath and gestured for the mic the HOA used for official statements. I need to explain something," he said. Valerie nodded calmly. "Tell us what you told us earlier." Ethan swallowed. "I'm the geek contractor Clara hired. For the penthouse." The room stiffened. "Hired for what?" I asked. He finally looked at me, and the guilt in his face hit me like a brick. "She hired me to do a full remodel," he said. "She said the place was hers. She said you bought it for her. She said you'd already approved the changes." My blood went ice cold. Clara had been planning to gut my penthouse. Tear down walls. Replace fixtures. She'd already chosen her dream closet installation. Approved lighting packages. Even redesigning the bathroom. "She paid me a deposit," Ethan continued. "And she said you were too busy to handle the communications yourself." I felt my pulse in my ears. This is insane. Ethan raised his hands. "I know. And I'm sorry. I realized something was off when she insisted the HOA rush the approval because she didn't want you to change your mind again." "Again?" He pressed his lips together. "Then your mom called me and threatened to sue if I didn't testify that the penthouse was promised to Clara." The room froze. Someone whispered, "What?" "They pressured me," Ethan continued. "They said if I didn't confirm the story, they'd destroy my business. They said they'd tell everyone I did unauthorized renovation work." Valerie's eyes widened. "Did you?" "No," he said firmly. "I refused to start anything without HOA approval." Everyone murmured. But then Ethan did the unexpected. He pulled out his phone. "I recorded the conversation with your mother. For my protection." My heart slammed against my ribs. And then, he hit play. Mom's voice filled the room. "Just say Brenna agreed to give the penthouse to Clara. We already told everyone she did. She'll cave when she's embarrassed. She always does." My stomach twisted. Then Clara's voice chimed in. Please, Ethan. Just help us. Brenna doesn't need the place. I deserve it. She owes me. This is the only way she'll cooperate. Finally, my mother again. Testify, or we'll ruin you. The room fell silent. Dead silent. Every lie. Every manipulation. Every fabricated message. Exposed by a stranger who refused to be complicit. My mother's voice crackled through the speakers one last time. Brenna will fold. She's weak. I wasn't weak. Not anymore. Valerie slowly turned toward me, her expression shifting from suspicion to disgust, not at me, but at my family. Brenna, did you know any of this was happening? I shook my head. No. They blindsided me. They created everything. I never promised the penthouse to anyone. The HOA whispered, murmured, exchanged looks. People who'd glared at me minutes ago now stared with sympathy, or horror. But Valerie wasn't done. We'll need official statements, she said. But based on what we've just heard, your family engaged in coercion, fraud, and misrepresentation. I almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because hearing someone finally acknowledge it felt surreal. Then Ethan cleared his throat again. There's more. More? He pulled up another file, a screen recording. I found this on an interior design forum. Clara was live streaming about the remodel plans. She claimed she finally got her sister to hand the place over. My heart pounded. She streamed it publicly? I whispered. Ethan nodded. Over 800 viewers. Valerie stood. Play it. And there, projected on the boardroom screen, was Clara, smiling, glowing, performing. Clara on live stream. My sister finally did the right thing. She promised me the penthouse ages ago. She's been difficult, but she came around. Renovations start next month. I can't wait to show you guys the transformation. The chat flooded with emoji. My vision tunneled. Valerie turned off the audio. This is unbelievable. But it wasn't over. The stranger Ethan then said the sentence that detonated everything. She scheduled the demo crew for next week. Without your authorization. The HOA erupted into chaos. I felt sick. They were really going to destroy my home. My sanctuary. My entire world. Valerie raised her hands. Quiet. Quiet. She turned to me. Brenna, given everything shown, the HOA will be filing a legal injunction against any unauthorized work. Anne. I strongly recommend you consider restraining orders. I nodded numbly. But in the chaos, something unexpected happened. Someone in the room was live streaming this entire meeting. Because suddenly, a phone from the back broadcasted a notification. Live, Penthouse scandal, truth exposed. Already 12,000 viewers. Someone gasped. I froze. It wasn't my video. It wasn't the HOA. It was Ethan. He whispered, I had to. They threatened to ruin me. I needed the truth out there. And then, without warning, my family barged into the meeting room, faces red, eyes wild, only to find their lies being streamed to thousands of people in real time. My mother burst through the door first, followed by Clara, whose face twisted when she saw the projector screen paused on her smiling live stream. Turn that off. Mom shrieked. You have no right. Valerie held up a hand. You do not speak here. Sit down or leave. Clara gasped. This is a misunderstanding. Brenna promised. No, I cut in. Enough. Clara flinched at the sharpness in my voice. Ethan stepped back as Mom lunged toward him. You little traitor. Touch him, Valerie snapped, and you'll be escorted out. Mom froze. I rose slowly, feeling every ounce of rage and exhaustion I'd swallowed for years. You lied to the HOA. You fabricated texts. You coerced a contractor. You broke Clara's lease. And you tried to demolish my home. Mom crossed her arms. We did what we had to. You weren't being cooperative. Cooperative? I repeated. With what? Giving away my home? Clara's voice trembled. You don't need it. You're always traveling. I needed a fresh start. You owe me that much. I owe you nothing. Her mouth dropped open. But I'm the older sister. And? Mom chimed in. Families help each other. And Clara is delicate. You're strong. You'll bounce back. There it was, the childhood script. I was the strong one, the fixer, the daughter who didn't need support. Except I did. But they never cared. I breathed in deeply. You don't get to dictate my life. Not anymore. Clara stepped forward. But the penthouse is mine. Always was. You fabricated everything to steal it. She trembled. I need it more. No, I said. You just wanted it. There's a difference. Mom narrowed her eyes. If you don't give it to her, we'll cut you off. I laughed. You were never on. A stunned silence followed. Valerie cleared her throat. This meeting is concluding. Brenna, we'll file the injunction immediately. Ma'am, Missy, you are both banned from this building unless invited by Brenna. Mom stared in disbelief. They can't ban us. They can, I said. And they are. As building security approached, Clara burst into tears. You're humiliating me. No, I said quietly. You did that to yourself. Security escorted them out as Ethan looked at me, unsure if I hated him or not. But I didn't. He hadn't betrayed me. He had saved me. And the live stream? It had already passed 80,000 viewers. The next morning, my phone exploded with notifications. Friends. Coworkers. Random strangers. Journalists. I had gone viral. Hashtag Penthouse Sister was trending. Clara's live streams were circulating with side-by-side comparisons to the HOA recordings. The internet tore apart every lie, analyzing voice tone, facial expressions, inconsistencies. My mother issued a statement claiming it was all a misunderstanding, but nobody bought it. Meanwhile, Ethan messaged me. I'm sorry I live-streamed. I panicked. I didn't mean to cause trouble. But he'd done the opposite. He'd exposed them. He'd freed me. We met up at a cafe near my building. He looked nervous as he approached, hands stuffed into his hoodie pockets. Are you mad? He asked. I shook my head. You did the right thing. He exhaled in relief. I didn't know what else to do. They cornered me. And when your mom said she'd ruin me, I lost it. You didn't ruin anything, I said. They did. We sat down. A few people recognized me but kept their distance. Ethan sipped his coffee. They're going to try something else. They won't let this go. I know, I said. But I'm done being scared of them. He studied me quietly. You deserve better than what they put you through. For the first time in a long time, I believed it. Later that day, I met with a lawyer. She reviewed the evidence and recommended filing for a restraining order and pursuing charges for fraud, coercion, and attempted property theft. The restraining order was approved within hours. My family tried to call me dozens of times, alternating between screaming, guilt-tripping, and sobbing, but I blocked every number. Clara posted a crying video claiming I had destroyed her life, but the comments section was brutal. You tried to steal your sister's house. Get a job like everyone else. Therapy, not theft. The internet wasn't fooled. That night, I finally sat on my sofa, the one Clara had tried to claim, and looked around the penthouse. My home. My sanctuary. Mine. For the first time since buying it, I felt safe. And for the first time in years, I felt free. The real revenge wasn't the restraining order. It wasn't the legal action. It wasn't even the public humiliation of my family being exposed to millions. The real revenge was this. They no longer had access to me. Or my peace. Or my life. A week later, Valerie called me with an update. Brenna, your family came back to the building yesterday. I rolled my eyes. Of course they did. We explained the restraining order and asked them to leave. Your sister caused a scene. That sounded right. Valerie continued. But someone in the lobby recorded it. It's online. I checked my phone. Sure enough, someone had uploaded a clip titled, "Penthouse Sister Gets Escorted Out Again." Clara was screaming at security, shouting that I was ungrateful, evil, selfish, the usual. But the internet didn't see a victim this time. They saw entitlement. Meanwhile, Ethan reached out again. "If you ever need help fixing anything around the place, I've got you." It wasn't flirtation. It wasn't opportunistic. It was kindness. Something I wasn't used to receiving without strings attached. We started talking more. Grabbing coffee. Sharing stories. Laughing. Slowly, cautiously, something began to grow between us, something genuine, the first stability I'd felt in years. One evening, as we stood on my balcony watching the city lights, he asked, "Do you ever wish your family had acted differently?" "All the time," I admitted. "But wishing doesn't change who they are." He nodded. "Then what do you want now?" I looked at him. At the skyline. At the space I had fought to protect. "I want a life where I don't have to apologize for my success," I said. "And people who don't treat me like an endless resource." "You deserve that," he said softly. And for once, I felt like I did. The next morning, my lawyer informed me that Clara had attempted to file a claim saying the penthouse was rightfully hers. But the judge dismissed it immediately, with prejudice. Meaning she could never file such a claim again. When my lawyer told me, I laughed, a free, unrestrained, joyful laugh. It was over. Finally, truly, over. And the penthouse, the symbol of everything I had worked for, was safe. Entitlement doesn't just try to take what you have, it tries to rewrite your history, your boundaries, your identity. My family believed they could twist the truth, manipulate strangers, and pressure me into surrendering the life I fought to build. But lies crumble when confronted with truth. And sometimes, the people who help you most are the ones you never expected to meet. I didn't just keep my home, I reclaimed my voice. And I learned that protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's survival.